Secret friends, unite!
Hey, secret friends, welcome back to Oops, All Thunderdome. This is, of course, our topic show where we're talking about a thing of the moment in about 30 to 45 minutes. And it's movie week again. We haven't covered a movie since April and I were talking about, and actually with our friend Scott, we're talking about Ready or Not 2, which we absolutely loved. But I'm very excited to be joined by my friend Eric Holgren, who has not been back since we talked about 28 years later, The Bone Temple. How the heck are you, my friend?
I am wonderful. Thanks for having me back.
Excellent. Absolutely. This is episode 573, and we're going to be digging in to talk about, it was funny in the B-roll, we were talking about Toys R Us, which is a store that does not exist anymore, but Eric and I are both Gen Xers, so we grew up in the 80s and 90s where that was the thing. It was a store just about toys, and something that I would get from this wonderful store in Metro Detroit, east side of Metro Detroit, which is where I'm from, were figures around He-Man and Masters of the Universe, for which this week we have a new film release. This is, although discounting, as I was reading the notes, somebody was counting one of the animated releases as a film. There have been 2 live-action releases of this, the first of which I believe I watched for the first time in its entirety a couple of weeks ago, which is really weird. It's really weird that I hadn't seen it, but I'm like, especially since it had Courtney Cox, who went on to be friends, and Robbie Duncan McNeil, who I know personally because I've interviewed him, who is, of course, Tom Paris on Star Trek Voyager, and Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella behind the mask, and actress Meg Foster was Eva Lynn. But I just feel like I never put it all together and seen it. And of course, that was also film by the great, oh my God, we did a special on him. The production company, not Carol Co, but it was the 2 guys who made Breakin'. They were like,
okay, yes, I don't remember the name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
yes.
Israeli brothers who just like specialized in making just absolutely dreadful B films. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're going to chat about Masters of the Universe, and again, 2026, American sword and sorcery film, which we could dig more into what that means, but whatever. Property owned by Mattel. As I'd mentioned, the second live action adaptation of this after 1987, directed by Travis Knight and written by Chris Butler, Aaron and Adam Nee, and David Callum. Nicholas Galitzine, who I was not familiar with, but he's a Brit. I checked him out. This was largely filmed in Australia. So I figured, well, maybe everybody who does not obviously an American is an Australian, but I didn't find any big names in the principal who were. Stars as Prince Adam, a.k.a. He-Man. And we'll get into the naming of the characters later, which I think is one of the most brilliant parts of this film. I really like. But Camila Mendez, Jared Leto in a role that frankly impressed me, which I didn't really think was possible. Alison Brie, James Purefoy, Johannes Hakur Johansson. Wow. Charlotte Riley, Kristen Wiig. I was struggling because I knew that Kristen Wiig was a voice actor in this, but I couldn't pin it down. Miranda Baccarin as the sorceress, which was so awesome. And Idris Elba. The plot follows Prince Adam as he returns home to his home planet Eternia after a time away to take his destiny as He-Man and save his home from the evil forces of Skeletor. This film was apparently announced back in 2009 by Sony before the rights dwindled after writer, director, and casting changes to Netflix in 2022. Of course, they did produce an animated series in between that time produced by Kevin Smith, which I never watched all of it. Were you a fan of that?
I liked it. I know that there are human beings who love the original that didn't really love what Kevin was doing, but I thought it was cool. And I know you and I talk about this all the time. I think anytime someone wants to take a swing at an IP from the 80s and see what they can come up with, I'm down with it. It obviously looked very different than the 80s. I thought it was fine.
Right. I can't disagree. I think it's worth a revisit. So Amazon snapped it up in 2024. Photography was in London, England. Okay, I thought I read Australia, but I was probably reading the little blurbs at the end, and I thought, oh, it's Australian. Now it makes a hell of a lot more sense. During the first 6 months of 2025. This dropped here in May. it may premiere and then with a wide release here on June 5, and it's received mixed reviews from critics, but who cares what they think? Because I think we're going to talk about how much we enjoyed it, or at least that's what I'm going to talk about. But.
Yeah, well, and I would say this because I was looking specifically at some of the more angry ones, and the Wall Street Journal one was the one that stood out to me that called He-Man as an IP low barrel or bottom of the barrel IP, and I think, look, if that's how you're going to approach this film, of course you're going to hate it. If you think He-Man is bottom of the barrel IP, there's no way you're going to enjoy this film. There's
right.
No
how are you gonna hack your way up from that? Exactly. All right. Here's some numbers. Budget is was around 170 to about 200 million. So this was not cheap stuff. However, the domestic opening is looking to be in the 30 to $35 million range, which does not bode incredibly well. That being said, tomato meter rating at about 66%. That's gone down. It was in the 70s, I think, when I looked at it yesterday. But 87% of audiences are loving on it, which works for me. We're going to employ standard rules for going through. We talked about this movie. We're going to do a no spoiler segment where we talk about our overall vibe. We'll give a rating, which will also be non-spoilery, and then it'll be spoilers up. So top line, review, and vibe. Eric, it's all yours. Non-spoiler.
Yeah, of course, non-spoiler. Here's what I would say, because this is what I said when I was reviewing it earlier today, is that there was a tightrope that these human beings had to walk between the amount of cringe you needed to lean into the nostalgia and the amount of modernity you needed to put into it to make it feel like it was made in 2026. And I think for that, it's masterful. I also think Travis Knight made the best Transformer film, period. Bumblebee is the best one of the bunch.
Yes, I had read, but I had forgotten what his other kind of pop culture work was.
So, like, as the kids say, he understood the assignment. And I think my non-spoiler review is everybody on this film knew why they were there, right? No one was kind of one was going against the grain or anything like that. So my non-spoiler review is I had an absolute riot at this film, an absolute blast.
Yes, I said the same thing. It was like a 9.5 or a 10 for me, and I rarely, because I'm usually a little bit more critical, but saying that they understood the assignment, I put it at 100,000%. That's my note, because I thought it was a campy throwback. Everybody knew what they were doing. Nobody was trying to make Game of Thrones. This was not trying to be House of Dragons. This was not trying to be Lord of the Rings. It was... I found it to be accessible and enjoyable with some comedic turns. Obviously, nothing is perfect. To me, it is a genuine kind of crime against cinema that people are not enjoying this, which was the same note from my friend Ryan Airy over at Screen Crush, who I had on last week to talk about Spider Noir, that it's a shame that people aren't out there seeing it, and then because people aren't out there seeing it, we may never see it again.
I think not to cut you off, but I think the bummer, because I'm as soon as we're done doing this, I'm going back to the theater to see Obsession. Is the competition right now is insane? You've got Backrooms, you've got Obsession, you've got this film. So I wonder if obviously no one saw those two films coming as the juggernauts that they've become. And I'm sure Masters of the Universe thought that Mando would be done by now and they'd have kind of smooth sailing into the summer season. Yeah. But I don't know. I agree with you. It's a shame people aren't seeing it, but I absolutely understand because there's so many amazing things at the theater to take your attention.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I was just having this conversation with my friend John. He and I have done a summer movie wager for the last 10 years, and we are just both getting our balls stomped on this year because we couldn't predict anything.
Sure.
I thought Mando would do better, like top 5 better. He put it bottom 5, so he's going to be close. But he bet on I bet on this as my dark horse. So we could do like a 1 through 10 and a dark horse. This was my dark horse. A dark horse. If something doesn't kiss 100 million, it's not even probably even in the neighborhood of being a dark horse. So this one's out. So I lose those points. So it's going to be a bloodbath. There's no doubt, because I didn't know anything about Backrooms or Obsession or any of that stuff. I had no clue at all. Okay. Let's talk some spoilers. Let's talk about some favorite moments, and I'm sure that we will have a lot that we share.
So I would say the two things for the film that aren't even spoilers to start out with, that are the best things in the film, is Daniel Pemberton's score with Brian May from Queen and Jared Leto. Those are the standout performances. He is so incredibly awesome as Skeletor.
He was born for it. It's him.
It's like, because he nails that dance. And I know this is what he was aiming for in Joker, to nail that dance between being silly and campy and then snapping back to being a psychopath. But he seemed to have dialed that in here, where you get those campy moments, where he like raises his hand and no one moves, and he just yells at Evil Lynn about, this is the end of the monologue. Like, why don't you understand this is the end? I raised my hand. To then immediately like injuring somebody in the scene violently because he's back to being a psycho. He is spectacular in this film.
Wild. And and again, the only real animated character or voice that we got that I can think of that really resonated with me was the Roboto character, which I believe that was a throwback of some kind to the show. There were so many little Easter eggs kind of sprinkled here and then. Moss Man's demise was hilarious. Yes. I thought that was great. I didn't see Buzz Off, which was a character I liked very much, but he was probably back there somewhere or whatever. Or Stratos got a toss, because I think that has to do with the after credit scene. But I love Kristen Wiig's Roboto. I love the energy that she brought. Was it Diane, or it was like,
yes,
yeah, was a character, and I think one of the notes elucidates that she's a character from a newspaper comic strip about this, which I'm like, whoa.
It's funny because my son was like, who is that person? I'm like, I have no idea who that person is. Like, I don't know
Yeah, now you can go tell him. But yeah, the thing that they really nailed was everybody's stupid name. You're like, oh, this guy's He-Man, this guy's Buzz-Off, this guy's Mecha-Neck or Trapjaw. Yep. All names that 8-year-old Adam, who, again, to kick off the plot, he retreated from Eternia when his city fell and grew up on Earth as kind of a Peter Parker-esque kind of bum, and ends up in HR, which is playing the HR angle throughout the movie. Shasir Zameda appearing as his boss, as a very corpo HR rapping. You know what I'm talking about. You work for a big corporation. I work for several. It was just so spot on. But all the names I described were the names that Adam gave them as a kid. Like, that guy's Trapjaw. That guy's Fisto.
Yes.
Oh, it explains what everyone as an adult looks at it is like, oh my God. Cringeor is awesome. His best moment, and again, he spoke, and I didn't necessarily look up who the voice actor was, but my favorite moment with him is that they're having one of the big climactic fights, and Adam is giving a speech, and you look back and it's Cringeor, and he's got his mouth wrapped around Beastman's head.
He's eating Beastman's head. Yes.
Give me some more, please. Feed me.
The one that I was the two that I was waiting for is at the end of the film. So the big action ends and they fade to black and they come back and we're 6 months later, and now everybody in the film is wearing their 80s appropriate gear, which I thought was awesome. And then they do the belly laugh thing, and I'm like, this is spectacular, absolutely spectacular. And then immediately the first post-credit scene is Orko, and I'm like, I'm done. Here, take all of my money. I am done. Take it all. Here's all my money.
Done. Give them to me. Oh my God. Yeah, Orko was great. And I did some reading back on the 87 film, which it's worth a watch, and it could totally show up on the Bad Movies podcast I do with my wife, April. But they couldn't even get Orko right to get him in that movie. Say they gave us, was it Gwildor? Was he the little like, yes. he was like a Orko knockoff, Yoda knockoff, like if they had a love child. But in the age of CGI, it's great to deliver, but they just did it. Oh my God, what else did I miss? So yeah, the looking up and laugh with everybody with their hands on their hips and tilted backwards. Oh my God. So
did you think, I've heard a couple people, if they have a critique of it, is they thought the stuff on Earth went on too long. I didn't feel that. Did you feel that stuff went on too long?
You know, and it's funny, especially if you splice it up by comparison, because the 87 film famously was almost entirely on Earth because they could film in some dumbass town in California and it was cheap, somewhere in Metro LA, and do it that way. And I mean, I think the timing was perfect because, Adam, you know, they have a climactic set piece, which to me, I swear they shot it in Vancouver because it looked like the same freeway exchange that the first part of the 2016's Deadpool took place, but it was, it wasn't. But they did that, and Beastman shows up, and then Tila grabs him, and she's got a ship, and they fly away.
Yeah, and I thought the Beastman scene, specifically when Beastman comes to Earth, because as soon as he gets back to Eternia, he's talking, and it sort of takes the air out. He's terrifying on Earth. Yeah, like terrifying in a way that I was like, this is what this character should feel like. He's an animal, and he acts as such. It was a great kind of. You know, there's some of that creature feature in this film, but that was like a creature feature moment, not quite a kaiju, but you sort of get that like city destroying moment with Beastman, which was fun.
Yeah, totally. You talked about Jared Leto. He did not fuck up this movie for us, which is what I was counting on, because what is anything else you can think of him in? I mean, he takes us from a level of Joker to Morbius to Tron, thinking about ways that he's disappointed us. And like you said, he was everything that this role needed to be, the silly, serious boob. And then he calls someone a boob, which was one of his catchphrases. Oh my God. It was fantastic.
And
absolutely fantastic.
I don't know if they're going to let him off the proverbial leash, because he's been very quiet, and by quiet I mean absolutely silent leading up to this film. But I think, you know, for all of the things that you can critique Jared on, and it is legion, right? I do think he should start doing some press about this role, because it's one of his best.
Right. Yeah. But you know what? Maybe he, in his own brain, he doesn't want to think about it that way because he's so physically not even. Everything about it seems CGI, and his voice seems really kind of quasi unrecognizable. So, all right. Anything else great before we move on to the critical aspect, where we talk about some things maybe we'd like to have different?
I mean, I thought the action pieces were spectacular. I thought the original attack in the beginning of the film really sets kind of the stakes, which I'm sure we'll get into the thing that you and I both probably have a slight critique on. But I thought the action sequences were great. And even the close quarter combat looked pretty good, all things considered. Because I think that was a place where you could have gone cringy. You could have gone 66 Batman, right? Like you could have gone Adam Westy, right? But you didn't. You decided that was the place where you're going to make it seem semi-realistic. And I think that played very well, the dance between the humor and then the high action.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So on the critical side, and this was something that, again, Ryan pointed out on Screen Crush, in some ways, there's almost, you know, they definitely understand the assignment, keeping it light, keeping it campy. But at some point, they back off of giving themselves permission to use an earned kind of serious moment. So, you know, for example, they have this great swell of Princess of the Universe by Queen playing, and they're doing the big tough guy walk, and they're walking into a room, and you're thinking, these guys have earned it. They fought their way back there. And then they all start choking on fart gas or something. It's like you gotta do the Marvel, you know, universe jokes a minute meter. So,
but I wonder though, because I thought this film was kind of like the love child, and this will be a deep cut and a recent cut. This is kind of the love child between Flash Gordon and Ragnarok. Is kind of, if I was going to make a jambalaya. And Ragnarok also had moments where its comedy got out in front of its skis. And I think when you get in that kind of mindset that you know, there needs to be those beats. And I think that's a nod towards Stinkor, although I didn't see Stinkor I think that's what that's supposed to be.
Okay.
Right? So I think that's what that Easter egg is, which is great if you're looking for that character. But to your point, it sort of eats away at that moment where we're trying to shift gears, right?
Right. Yeah, it was just, and then I get it. I like it, but I find sadness in what they refer to, and they always say this on the Weekly Planet, which is a podcast I love. They have a start your engines moment where they just absolutely lean into, here's a sequel, when we get the great after credit scene where there is a kind of sight unseen, you get almost a body double who is portraying, seen from the back, She-Ra, who is He-Man's sister, I believe.
Yep.
And
Correct, yes.
I couldn't remember, not a love interest, because his love interest is Tila, but I couldn't remember really what the connection was. That they're really leaning into, well, she's going to come roaring back, and she's in Stratos. That's what I got out of the video. She was in Stratos or something, and it was Stratos's realm or something. Another planet. Eternos is their planet. The other planet,
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember where he's from. So,
but with the obviously dismal performance of this movie, there are movies that have done worse, that have gotten sequels, but cinema has just changed so much, and they can't really quantify what's a huge success, what's a failure. This one, the ROI is very much, the water, very much upside down in the water on this one. So it makes me dubious. I'd love to be wrong, because I like you, I very much feel I would kind of watch this all the live long day, but I don't know that She-Ra in a sequel is going to end up being in our future.
I hope, though, that with the popcorn meter and the buzz from actual humans, not critics, that you might push against the 70% drop off that you typically get from week 1 to week 2. Right. Not that it's going to do backrooms increases or obsession increases, but if it can stay in theaters, the problem is, as you know, because you're painting the picture before you even kind of finish it, with Disclosure Day being next weekend, like, the cards are against you. If you didn't make it this weekend, right?
Yeah, June is so jammed. Disclosure Day, then we have Supergirl, which it makes me wonder kind of what the fate of that is going to be. And then we have, do we have the Odyssey's next month? Then Spider-Man is next month. So
yes, and then don't we also get Toy Story 5 this month? Or
Toy Story 5 is this? I have tickets to all of them, but it's so jammed in there. I just don't know what's going to become of our summer movie wager, how we're going to, because what I just described to you, Odyssey, Toy Story, unfortunately I had Mando in there. That's gotten knocked out the box, but Spider-Man is my number one for the summer. Those movies just do not disappoint with the dollars.
You think that'll do more than the Odyssey?
It could be, because it touches a wider audience, I think, potentially. But I don't know. If anything, we proved that we don't know. We need those.
Yes, that's true.
Back rooms and Odyssey kids, the Gen X and Gen Alpha kids, go see something, right? Besides those two movies, seeing them over and over again. So, all right, wrapping up. Final thoughts. The low box office, as I said, kind of makes me feel like it's kind of a one and done. But I just have not had this much fun in a movie that I really felt got itself. Like it went through puberty in front of us. You know what I mean? Like it grew into a young, it grew into a man or a woman, if you prefer. I just hope somehow the word gets out to those big old crowds seeing the back rooms and the obsession that our next thing should be He-Man. That's what I really want to have happen.
The other alternative here is that the studio you're dealing with has armyfuls of money in the way that the other studios might not have the same appetite for or risk for failure, right? Amazon doesn't really need to, they can't be stupid, but they also have a little bit more wiggle room than the other studios do if they were to have something like this, right?
Right.
Where, like you said with Mando needs to do number X or it's dire straits. I don't know that He-Man, despite the movie math that we both understand at $144 million, that you need to put about $300 or $315 million in that coffer to make it worthwhile. Maybe they love this project and they give it another shot. I don't know.
Right. That would be absolutely terrific. All right, let me run through some trivia here. It will not surprise you that Jared Leto covered his face in blood during filming to make his performance scary. He's still got to be Jared Leto. Yes. Let's face it. It's not a dead rat or a condom filled with blood or whatever the hell he did on the Justice League movie. But boy, it's close. Also not surprising that our main hero did a major bulking up role. Because that guy was ripped as shit sideways. He had negative body fat.
I had read somewhere that like the wardrobe department kept having to alter everything because he kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger as they were going further and further into filming.
He wore a loincloth. They could get a bigger loincloth. His butt was getting bigger. He had a big muscly butt.
Well, he did. He does go back to the pink shirt a couple times in the He-Man realm. So
They had to CGI on that pink shirt. I always like stuff like this, and this is very reminiscent of like Klingon language in Star Trek. The filmmakers did create a language or script for the Eternian language. I think that's pretty cool. Tom Hardy was in the run to play Skeletor. His wife Charlotte Riley was the Queen. We didn't even talk about the King Randor, who at the beginning he's a bit of a dick, but he and his son do make up. So. I did like seeing Dolph Lundgren. I like throwbacks like this. Bummed out I didn't see my friend Robert Duncan McNeil or Courtney Cox in this, but what are you going to do? Yes, so as I mentioned, Diane is a character from the Masters of the Universe newspaper comics of the 1980s, which I don't know anything about. I know DC published a series, and there have been other series that happened since. But yeah, and then this is one that April and I like. I think we said it to each other in the theater. One of the scenes on Earth when Beastman is attacking and he gets hit by a vehicle, it's an Amazon delivery truck.
Yeah, you got to have the product placement. You got to have the product placement.
Fantastic product placement. So, all right, any final thoughts before we kind of wind down the road here?
I think between now, publish date and disclosure day, you should go see this film because it's absolutely a riot in the theater.
Go support something that's fun. Awesome. Good deal. Eric, it's good to see you, man. I got to get you back on for something. I might be able to get you back on for the Odyssey because I have one other guest, but I'm cool with doing 3 people. So you and I can chat about that. But where do people find you in the meantime if they want to chat about how much you love this movie?
Just Eric Hultgren, Hultgren, everywhere on the internet.
Very good. And I, of course, run the Secret Friends Unite socials as well as my own, which is at the C3, THECEETHREE. I'm everywhere except X and really TikTok. I don't mess around a bit. I am finally getting back on track with doing my little kitchen chats where in 3 minutes or less I catch up with you, something that I can't get on the rest of our shows. But secretfriendsunite.com is where all of our shows are. Join our Patreon as a free member to get all of our updates, patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. And if you're listening to this when it comes out and you're in the tri-state area, look for April and myself at Star Trek Long Island and Hapog, New York, Long Island. If you're a Trekker, come say hello. We'd love to see you. And with that, friends, as always, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.